Okay, so emotional burnout, mental fatigue, the experience of feeling tired because of emotions. That is what I'm talking about today, yeah? So the emotional causes of fatigue. So I've talked about in my previous videos, I talked about like the diet, the sleep, toxins, nutrition, all that stuff, infections, the drivers of fatigue. Today, I'm talking about emotions. How your emotional health can actually make you feel very, very tired, yeah? So it's a known thing, right? We get burnt out, we get stressed, we have a lot going on emotionally, whether it's divorces or bad relationships or a really stressful job or any sorts of abuse or any sort of just tension that just doesn't seem to go away, like, right? So over time, you can handle a bit of stress for a while, right? But after a while, it just kind of wears you down and you just get to that point where you're like, I can't do this anymore. You just want to give up, right? So this is mental fatigue, emotional fatigue. There's also another component, and one that's not so really talked about so much is how we have a lot of emotion because of how we've sort of been brought up, most of us, is that, you know, it's not great to get angry, it's not great to upset people, and it's not nice to be around people who are sad, and, you know, so we tend to suppress our emotions, essentially. We suppress how we feel. And what happens is people end up eating and drinking and working hard and doing all these things to suppress the feelings that they have inside. So, you know, you wake up in the morning and you're like, instead of feeling like, oh, it's a nice day, you wake up and you're like, oh, I feel anxious, or I feel stressed, or I feel sad, or I feel depressed, or you feel something. And because we haven't been taught how to deal with these emotions, most of us, we just try to sort of make it go away. Yeah, it's a natural instinct. It's like, I feel bad, I want it to go away. Of course, that's normal, right? So the process that I'm going to talk about today is kind of like the opposite of that. It's learning how to actually acknowledge, feel, allow your emotions to come up, and then feel better because of it. Now, there's one rule when it comes to emotional healing, or the healing that I do anyway, is you have to feel it to heal it. Yeah. So for example, if you had something happen when you were 5, right? Some major thing, or even not so major, but just say something happened and you were really, really stressed and really upset. And in that moment, during that time, your mum and your dad were also very stressed, or they didn't realize that was going on for you, or whatever happened, you weren't able to get the support, emotional support you needed, right? So this little girl or boy is feeling really sad, really lonely, really isolated. It's like, what's wrong with me? No one's helping me. I don't know. I'll just keep it all inside. And they're just sort of like, right? And there's this little part of them kind of freezes, and it's stuck there, like the little 5-year-old is stuck there, feeling sad, lonely. Nobody understands me. Nobody likes me. Everybody hates me. You know, going to the garden to eat worms. That sort of stuff, right? That little part of you literally stays frozen. And it stays frozen within you, alive. Now, what I mean by that is it's kind of like separates off you from you. It's still part of you, but those feelings are there, circulating around. They don't go away. You get older, things happen, you have more of these things that happen actually. So you end up with all these parts, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old. All these emotions are still circulating around. And depending on what happens in your life, just day to day, this is where triggers come in, right? This is how triggers happen. Something kind of normal every day happens, and then next thing you know, boom, you're feeling really, really crazy angry. And like, why am I so angry? It's like, if it was an angry one, the 6-year-old angry one comes over and takes over, and then you see the angry one, yeah? Or in this case, something that's similar that happened to what happened back then. You won't remember what it is, but it's something that reminds in the subconscious, triggers that, and then the little 5-year-old is like, oh, and then you feel really, really sad until the next one comes over, you know, and you have this basically swapping of parts. One's doing this, the sad one, the angry one, the happy one, and they're all taking turns. And it's like, where the heck am I in all of this? You know, like, where is, for example, me, Hannah? Where is Hannah in all this? Like, where's the real Hannah? Where's the 1-year-old Hannah? You know, where is she? So when we haven't dealt with our emotions, when we haven't processed our grief, our sorrow, our anger, all the things, these parts stay alive in us. And this is how we end up having, one of the reasons of how we end up having emotional problems. Yeah, it's also why we end up having emotional fatigue. Because imagine having 15 different parts of you talking and screaming and crying and yelling and I want this and I want that and I need this and I need that. It is exhausting. It is exhausting feeling like that, right? Now, not everyone's going to have 15. Some will have more, some will have less. It depends on your environment, your kind of your brain or your makeup, yeah? And also the amount of trauma that you've experienced. So it's complex. So that is sort of explaining it from one perspective. The next thing is we need to learn to be able to process emotion, to cry, to allow ourselves to feel sad, to be happy, believe it or not. Have you ever been told, oh my God, you're too happy, go away, you're just like too intense? I've had that said to me a few times, right? You're not even allowed to be too happy in this world. You're not allowed to be too depressed. You're not allowed to be too sad. You're not allowed to be too angry. And far out, you're not even allowed to be too happy. Like, seriously? Right? So we have to learn to just be kind of like, to all those people and just let ourselves be what we are, right? And if you have friends that are all like, you can't and you can't, and or family that is like that, you just be like, look, guys, too bad. I'm feeling sad today. I'm sad. Let me be sad. Yeah? It's not about taking it out on them. It's not about projecting your stuff onto other people, making it their fault, or just losing your SHIT at them. It's not about that. It's just about you being able to allow yourself to feel what needs to be felt so you can release some of the stuff from your childhood, your teenage years, your 20s, however old you are, right? And then when you do that, you will start to feel better. Have you ever noticed how when you cry, okay, it kind of maybe hurts and you're like, oh, kind of crying, the process can be a little bit painful, especially if you're resisting, because you get sore throats and headaches and things. But once you've kind of let it all go, how good you feel, yeah? This is your body's way of saying, this is good for you. Do more of this, yeah? The body always tells us when we've done something right, we've done something good for us. For example, when you do a good poo, how do you feel? Do you feel like, woohoo, that was good? You do, right? You do. If you have a not so good one, you're like, oh, that wasn't so good, what's going on? Yeah, food, you need to eat it. It tastes good, it feels good, right? So crying is the same. Crying is one of the most healing things you can do. It will start to release this fatigue, yeah? So emotional fatigue, it is a thing. I'm not making this stuff up. I have my own lived experience to vouch for this. I had a lot of abuse when I was a child. I did so much psychotherapy and all that normal stuff. Nothing happened, and like didn't get better until I started doing these processes of allowing myself to feel what was going on inside of me, and to start healing the parts of me, the 5-year-old, the 6-year-old, the 10-year-old, the 12-year-old, all the different parts of me, helping them to be healed, integrating them. Then instead of having like 15 parts running around, maybe now I have like 4 or 5. You have less, and they're more heading in the same direction, yeah? When you've got all these different parts, they all need different things, and one's saying, I want to go this way, and one's saying, I want to go this way, and one's saying, I want to go this way, and this way, and this way. It's very hard to even know who you are amongst that kind of all the noise, right? So, emotional fatigue, it really is a thing. I hope this has been helpful, helped you sort of understand a bit of like what could be going on. But the thing is you need to learn how to feel your emotions. You need to learn how to identify and heal your parts. Now this is something that's very hard to do. If this is the first time you've ever heard of it, you'd be like, what is she talking about? But that kind of does make sense, yeah? Practitioners exist who work with this stuff. I work with this stuff. I brought this emotional healing into my naturopathic practice for a reason, because I realized that, you know, pills and vitamins are only going to do so much of the healing, right? Diet, pills and vitamins are only going to, you know, pills and vitamins do this much and diet does this much. You've still got this much left, which is the emotional stuff, because we are physical, emotional, energetic beings, right? So if we're unwell, we need to work on all aspects of our body, on ourselves, like All of us, emotional, physical, energetic. Yeah. So that's why I do kinesiology. That's why I do emotional healing. That's why I do nutrition and diet and all that stuff, vitamins and herbs, because it's holistic. It works on the whole of you. And that's when you start to get better, when you work on all these aspects. Okay, I hope it's been helpful. If you have questions, if you're like, what is she talking about? I want to know more. If you want to book a 30-minute consult with me and just have a chat to me about it to understand it more, do it. The links are all down there. Push the like, push the subscribe, push all those little buttons. We'll see you soon.